Chaos is an undeniable part of life. It is woven into the fabric of existence, appearing in countless forms: unexpected changes, emotional turbulence, external pressures, and the relentless pace of the modern world. From the moment we wake up, we are met with a barrage of stimuli, responsibilities, and challenges. The world moves at a speed that often feels overwhelming, leaving many searching for an escape. But chaos itself is not the enemy, rather, our relationship with it determines whether we suffer or remain at peace. The human tendency is to resist disorder, to crave stability, and to seek a sense of control. However, control is often an illusion. No matter how much we plan, life has a way of unfolding unpredictably. Situations shift, people change, and circumstances evolve beyond our expectations. The more we struggle against this natural flow, the more we exhaust ourselves. It is not the external world that creates suffering, but our inability to embrace its ever-changing nature. The secret to stillness is not about eliminating chaos, but about learning how to move through it without being consumed by it. When we closely observe nature, we see that it operates in perfect balance despite its apparent disorder. Rivers flow effortlessly over obstacles, the wind changes direction without hesitation, and even the stormiest seas eventually return to calm. Nature does not resist movement, it adapts. In the same way, those who understand the nature of chaos do not fight it, but find a way to remain centered within it. This does not mean becoming passive or indifferent to life's challenges, but rather developing an inner steadiness that is unshaken by external turbulence. One of the main reasons chaos feels overwhelming is because we are constantly engaged with it mentally. The mind, when left unchecked, creates unnecessary complications. It amplifies worries, replays past events, and constructs imagined futures filled with uncertainty. We often find ourselves lost in a cycle of overthinking, reacting impulsively to situations, and letting external disturbances dictate our inner state. But when we begin to realize that chaos exists largely in our perception, we open the door to a different way of being. Instead of resisting chaos, we can observe it. When something unexpected happens, instead of immediately reacting with frustration or fear, we can take a step back and witness how the mind interprets the situation. This shift in perspective creates space between us and the chaos itself. In that space, stillness emerges. We begin to see that while the world may be in constant motion, there is a part of us that remains untouched by it. This realization alone can be transformative. One of the greatest misconceptions is that stillness means escaping the world, retreating into solitude, or avoiding challenges. True stillness is not about running away, but about being fully present without being swept away. It is about participating in life completely while maintaining an inner balance. A person who has mastered this can walk through the most chaotic environments and remain unshaken. They do not depend on external conditions for their peace. Instead, their peace comes from within. This inner steadiness is not something mystical or unattainable. It is a skill that can be cultivated through awareness, self-observation, and conscious living. Simple practices such as pausing before reacting, focusing on the breath, and shifting attention inward can help anchor us in the present moment. The more we practice, the less control chaos has over us. We begin to see that our peace is not dependent on whether life is going according to our plans, but on how we choose to respond to it. When chaos arises, we can remind ourselves that it is not personal. The world is not conspiring against us, it is simply moving as it always has. Every challenge, every unexpected turn, and every moment of disorder is an opportunity to practice stillness. Instead of seeing obstacles as threats, we can see them as teachers, guiding us to cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. History has shown that some of the most remarkable individuals were not those who lived in perfect conditions, but those who remained steady amid storms. Leaders, philosophers, and visionaries who inspired change did not wait for the world to be calm before they acted. They learned to navigate uncertainty with grace, making decisions not out of fear, but from a place of clarity. This clarity comes only when we stop identifying with chaos and start witnessing it for what it is, a natural movement of life. Stillness does not mean life becomes easy. Challenges will continue to appear and difficulties will arise. However, what changes is our experience of them. When we no longer see chaos as a force to fight against, we begin to flow with life rather than resist it. This shift is not just a mental exercise, it transforms the way we live, interact with others, and engage with the world. In the end, chaos is neither good nor bad. It is simply a part of existence. But within that chaos, there is always a place of stillness waiting to be found. It is not somewhere outside, it is within each of us. The more we connect with that stillness, the less power external disturbances have over us. Life will continue to move, but we will no longer be moved by it. Stillness is often misunderstood. Many believe it to be the absence of movement, a state of complete inactivity, or a withdrawal from the world. But true stillness is not about shutting life out. It is about being fully immersed in it while remaining unaffected by its turbulence. It is the ability to be in the middle of movement, conflict, and uncertainty without losing one's balance. The power of stillness is not in stopping the world around us, but in finding an unshakable center within ourselves. Life is constantly moving. The world is filled with noise, distractions, and demands that pull our attention in countless directions. From the moment we wake up, we are drawn into an endless stream of thoughts, emotions, and reactions. We are bombarded with information, expectations, and pressures, making it easy to feel overwhelmed and restless. Many people spend their entire lives caught in this cycle, always chasing something, always responding to external forces, and never finding a moment of true peace. But what if stillness was not something we had to seek, but something we could cultivate within? The power of stillness lies in its ability to transform our experience of life. When the mind is constantly restless, it is like a stormy ocean. Turbulent, unclear and chaotic, every small disturbance feels like a massive wave, shaking our sense of stability. But when we learn to cultivate stillness, the mind becomes like a calm lake, where even if ripples appear, the depth remains undisturbed. This does not mean life will stop presenting challenges. Instead, it means that no matter what happens, there is a space within us that remains untouched, a steady presence that allows us to view life with clarity and grace. The reason so many people struggle to find stillness is that they are caught in their thoughts. The mind is constantly generating stories, fears and expectations, pulling us into past regrets or future anxieties. Rarely do people exist in the present moment. They are either reliving old experiences or worrying about what is to come. Stillness is not about controlling thoughts or forcing the mind to be quiet. It is about stepping back and observing them without attachment. When we realize that thoughts are just passing events, like clouds in the sky, we no longer feel the need to react to every single one. In this realization, a profound stillness arises. Breath is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for cultivating stillness. The breath is always present, yet most people never pay attention to it. When the mind is restless, the breath is shallow and uneven. When we consciously slow the breath and bring awareness to it, the mind follows. Taking deep, steady breaths anchors us in the present, creating a sense of space between ourselves and whatever is happening around us. In that space, stillness is naturally found. Stillness is not about isolation or removing ourselves from the world. It is about engaging with life more deeply, but without getting lost in it. A person who has found true stillness can walk through the busiest streets, face the greatest challenges, and interact with countless people without losing their sense of peace. They are fully present, fully aware, and fully alive. They do not react impulsively to situations, but respond with wisdom and clarity. Their energy is not scattered but directed, allowing them to act with purpose rather than be pulled in every direction. One of the greatest misconceptions about stillness is that it is passive. Many think that to be still means to do nothing, but the opposite is true. Stillness enhances action, it sharpens focus, strengthens resilience, and allows us to approach life with a sense of calm determination. When the mind is still, we make better decisions. We are not swayed by emotions or external pressures, but instead we see things as they are. This clarity gives us the ability to act wisely rather than react impulsively. Finding stillness does not mean waiting for life to be perfect. Many people tell themselves that they will find peace once they achieve certain goals, resolve all their problems, or eliminate all sources of stress. But life will always be dynamic, always changing. If peace is dependent on external conditions, it will never be lasting. True stillness is independent of circumstances. It is a state of being that remains intact whether life is smooth or chaotic. Silence plays a key role in developing stillness. In a world filled with constant noise, people have lost the ability to sit in silence, to simply be. Many fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. But in silence, the deepest wisdom emerges. It is in these quiet moments that we begin to see beyond the noise of the mind, beyond the distractions of the world, and connect with something deeper. This connection is where true stillness resides. The power of stillness is the power to remain unshaken. It is the ability to face life with a sense of ease, no matter what unfolds. It does not mean avoiding challenges, but moving through them with awareness and balance. When we cultivate stillness, we no longer seek peace outside ourselves. Instead, we become the source of it. This is not a distant possibility, but something that exists within every person, waiting to be realized. Once we tap into it, we no longer move through life feeling scattered and reactive. We move with purpose, clarity, and an unshakable sense of inner peace. The mind is one of the most powerful tools available to us. yet it is also the greatest source of suffering when left unchecked. It has the ability to create clarity or confusion, peace or turmoil, depending on how we engage with it. Most people believe they are in control of their minds, but in reality, the mind often controls them. Thoughts arise constantly, emotions fluctuate, and reactions occur without conscious awareness. This cycle of mental activity can make life feel overwhelming, as if there is no escape from the noise within. However, mastering the mind is not about stopping thoughts or suppressing emotions. It is about understanding how the mind functions and learning to observe it without becoming entangled in it. The first step toward mastering the mind is recognizing that thoughts do not define who we are. Thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky, yet many people identify so strongly with their thoughts that they believe every idea, worry or fear to be an absolute truth. A negative thought appears and immediately the mind clings to it, creating an entire story around it. This leads to unnecessary suffering. By simply observing thoughts instead of attaching to them, one can create distance and clarity. Instead of reacting impulsively to every mental impression, there is space to choose how to respond. Another aspect of mastering the mind is developing awareness of its patterns. The mind tends to function in habitual ways, often repeating the same worries, judgments, and anxieties. These patterns are reinforced over time, becoming automatic responses to life's challenges. Without awareness, these mental habits dictate behavior and shape reality. However, by paying attention to these patterns, one can begin to break free from them. It is not about forcing the mind to change, but about understanding its tendencies and consciously choosing a different response. Breath plays a crucial role in mastering the mind. The connection between breath and mental activity is undeniable. When the mind is restless, the breath becomes shallow and irregular. When fear or stress arises, the breath becomes rapid. But by consciously regulating the breath, one can influence the state of the mind. Deep, steady breathing signals the nervous system to relax, creating a sense of calm and focus. This simple practice allows the mind to settle, making it easier to observe thoughts without being consumed by them. Another key aspect of mastering the mind is understanding the nature of emotions. Emotions are not separate from thoughts, they are deeply interconnected. A single thought can trigger a cascade of emotions, which in turn reinforce more thoughts. This cycle can create unnecessary suffering when emotions are not understood. Many people try to suppress uncomfortable emotions or distract themselves from them, but this only strengthens their hold. Instead, by allowing emotions to be felt fully without resistance, they pass through like waves, leaving clarity in their wake. The key is to witness emotions without identifying with them, understanding that they are temporary states, not permanent realities. Focus and attention are also central to mastering the mind. The mind is often scattered, jumping from one thought to another, constantly distracted by external stimuli. In this state, it becomes difficult to concentrate, make clear decisions, or experience inner peace. Training the mind to focus on one thing at a time, whether it is the breath, an action, or the present moment, develops mental discipline. This ability to direct attention consciously is what allows one to remain steady in the midst of external chaos. One of the greatest obstacles to mastering the mind is resistance. The mind naturally resists what it does not like, creating suffering in the process. When things do not go as planned, the mind fights against reality, leading to frustration and stress. However, by learning to accept life as it unfolds without resistance, the mind becomes free. Acceptance does not mean passivity, it means seeing things clearly and responding from a place of wisdom rather than reactivity. When the mind stops resisting, it finds peace even in difficult situations. A powerful way to develop mastery over the mind is through self-inquiry. Asking simple but profound questions such as, who is experiencing this thought? Or, where does this emotion come from? Creates a gap between the observer and the mental activity. In that gap, awareness deepens and the mind begins to lose its grip. The realization arises that the mind is not the master, but a tool to be used consciously. Stillness is the natural state of a mind that has been mastered. It does not mean the absence of thought, but rather a state where thoughts arise and dissolve without causing disturbance. In this stillness, life is experienced with greater clarity, creativity flows effortlessly, and challenges are met with composure. A mind that is mastered does not waver in the face of uncertainty, it remains grounded, capable of seeing beyond momentary difficulties. Ultimately, mastering the mind is a lifelong process, not a single achievement. It requires practice, awareness, and patience. But as one deepens this mastery, life begins to transform. The external world may remain unpredictable, but within there is a steady center untouched by chaos. From this place, every moment becomes an opportunity to act with wisdom, to experience life fully, and to move through the world with an unshakable sense of peace. Breath is one of the most fundamental aspects of life, yet it is often overlooked. It is the first thing we do when we are born and the last thing we do before we leave this world. Despite its constant presence, few people ever pay attention to their breath. It happens automatically, sustaining life without any conscious effort. However, the breath holds a deeper power beyond mere survival. It is an anchor, a tool that can bring stillness and clarity amidst chaos. When the mind is restless, emotions are turbulent, or the world feels overwhelming, returning to the breath offers a path back to balance. The connection between breath and mental states is undeniable. When a person is anxious, their breath becomes shallow and rapid. When they are calm, the breath is deep and steady. This relationship is not one-sided. Just as emotions affect breathing, intentional breathing can influence emotions. By consciously regulating the breath, one can shift their inner state from agitation to peace. This is why many ancient traditions, from yoga to meditation, place great emphasis on breath control. It is not just a physical process but a doorway to mental and emotional stability. In moments of stress, the mind tends to spiral. Thoughts race, worries multiply, and it becomes difficult to focus. The breath, however, is always present. No matter where we are or what is happening, we can always return to it. When attention is placed on the breath, it draws the mind away from chaotic thinking and into the present moment. This is why focusing on the breath is one of the simplest and most effective forms of meditation. It requires no special tools, no complex techniques, only awareness. By simply observing the inhalation and exhalation, a shift begins to occur. The noise of the mind fades and a sense of stillness emerges. Breath also serves as a bridge between the body and mind. Often, people experience stress physically, tightness in the chest, tension in the shoulders, an uneasy feeling in the stomach. These sensations are directly linked to breath patterns. When stressed, the body contracts and breathing becomes restricted. This sends signals to the brain that reinforce a state of tension. But by consciously slowing and deepening the breath, the body begins to relax and the mind follows. A calm breath leads to a calm body, which in turn creates a calm mind. This cycle can be used to one's advantage, transforming moments of distress into opportunities for grounding and clarity. One of the most effective ways to use the breath as an anchor is through rhythmic breathing. Techniques such as deep belly breathing, box breathing, or alternate nostril breathing help regulate the nervous system. Deep belly breathing, also known as diaphragmatic breathing, involves drawing air fully into the lungs, allowing the belly to expand rather than just the chest. This type of breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and reduces stress hormones. Box breathing, a technique used by athletes and even military professionals, involves inhaling, holding, exhaling, and pausing in equal counts. This creates a sense of control and steadiness, especially in high-pressure situations. Alternate nostril breathing practiced in yoga balances energy and enhances focus. Beyond stress relief, breath awareness deepens self-understanding. The way a person breathes reflects their inner state. Shallow breathing may indicate unconscious tension. Holding the breath may signal unresolved emotions. Paying attention to these patterns provides insight into the mind's habits. Once awareness develops, intentional shifts can be made. Instead of allowing external circumstances to dictate breathing, one can use breath to shape their response to life's challenges. Breath also connects us to the present moment. The mind has a tendency to dwell in the past or anticipate the future, rarely staying in the now. This constant mental movement creates anxiety and restlessness. The breath, however, is always in the present. We cannot breathe in the past or the future, only in this moment. By bringing awareness to each breath, the mind naturally aligns with the present where clarity and peace reside. This is why breath-focused practices are essential for mindfulness and meditation. They serve as an anchor, keeping us rooted in what is real, rather than being lost in the ever-changing landscape of thoughts. Breath is also a tool for cultivating resilience. Life is unpredictable, filled with moments of uncertainty and challenge. Instead of being swept away by external circumstances, those who develop a deep connection with their breath can navigate difficulties with greater ease. A steady breath in the face of adversity signals to the mind that there is no immediate danger, reducing the instinct to panic or react impulsively. This creates space for thoughtful responses rather than emotional reactions. With practice, breath becomes a source of inner strength, allowing one to remain composed even in the midst of chaos. Even beyond the practical benefits, there is something deeply profound about the breath. It is a reminder of life's impermanence, the constant flow of inhalation and exhalation mirroring the natural rhythms of existence. Each breath is a cycle, taking in, letting go, just as life itself is a series of arrivals and departures. When we become aware of the breath, we touch something fundamental, something beyond the fluctuations of daily concerns. In this awareness, there is a sense of connection, not only to ourselves but to the larger movement of life itself. Using the breath as an anchor does not mean eliminating challenges or silencing the mind permanently. Thoughts will still arise, emotions will still fluctuate, and life will continue to unfold unpredictably. But through breath awareness, one develops the ability to remain steady despite these fluctuations. It offers a refuge, a constant amidst change. No matter what is happening externally, the breath is always available as a source of stability. In this way, breath is not just a biological function, but a profound tool for inner stillness. With each conscious breath, there is an opportunity to return home to oneself, to find clarity in confusion, and to cultivate peace in a world that is always in motion. Detachment from external drama is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate inner peace and clarity. The world is constantly in motion, filled with conflicts, opinions, and endless sources of distraction. Everywhere we look, there are people reacting to situations, engaging in arguments, and becoming emotionally entangled in circumstances beyond their control. Many believe that being deeply involved in these external dramas is necessary to show they care, to feel engaged with life, or to assert their identity. However, true wisdom lies in understanding that being consumed by external drama does not bring solutions, nor does it create lasting fulfillment. Instead, it drains energy, clouds judgment, and keeps people trapped in cycles of emotional turbulence. Detachment does not mean apathy or indifference. It is not about withdrawing from life or avoiding responsibility. Rather, it is the ability to engage with the world without being overwhelmed by it. It is the ability to witness events, interact with people, and respond to situations with clarity and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively out of emotional entanglement. Detachment allows a person to remain centered, regardless of what is happening around them. It creates a space where external situations do not dictate internal peace. One of the main reasons people get caught up in external drama is the attachment to opinions, validation, and control. Many individuals feel the need to defend their beliefs, to prove themselves right, or to seek approval from others. This need creates unnecessary conflict because the world is filled with diverse perspectives and not everyone will see things the same way. When a person is attached to their opinions and identity, any disagreement feels like a personal attack. This leads to endless arguments, stress and emotional exhaustion. However, when detachment is cultivated, the need to be right disappears. There is an understanding that opinions are just perspectives, not absolute truths. This realization brings freedom because it allows a person to listen without feeling the urge to defend, to observe without feeling threatened, and to engage in conversations without losing inner peace. Another source of external drama is the tendency to absorb other people's emotions. Human beings are social creatures, and it is natural to empathize with others. However, when this empathy turns into emotional entanglement, it creates unnecessary suffering. If someone around us is angry, sad, or frustrated, we often take on their emotions as if they are our own. This makes it difficult to remain clear-headed and balanced. Detachment does not mean ignoring the emotions of others. It means being able to support them without becoming overwhelmed by their struggles. It is about offering compassion without losing one's own stability. Just as a tree remains rooted in the ground despite strong winds, a person with detachment remains steady even when surrounded by emotional turmoil. Social media and news cycles are also major contributors to external drama. In the modern world, people are constantly exposed to information, opinions and conflicts from all over the globe. Every day there is a new controversy, a new argument, or a new crisis demanding attention. Many people spend hours engaging in debates online, reacting emotionally to headlines or feeling overwhelmed by the negativity in the world. This constant exposure to external drama creates anxiety and stress, making it difficult to focus on personal growth and well-being. Detachment allows a person to be informed without being consumed. It means choosing where to direct energy and not allowing external forces to dictate inner peace. Instead of reacting impulsively to every piece of news or every comment on social media, detachment allows for discernment, deciding what truly deserves attention and what is simply noise. A key aspect of detachment is understanding the impermanence of life. Everything in the external world is constantly changing. Situations arise and pass. People come and go and emotions fluctuate. Yet many people hold on to external circumstances as if they are permanent. They become deeply attached to specific outcomes, relationships or identities, and when these things change, they experience immense suffering. Detachment allows for a different perspective. It brings the understanding that everything is temporary and that resisting change only creates unnecessary pain. This does not mean avoiding commitment or not caring about the world. It means engaging fully in life while knowing that nothing is truly owned, controlled or guaranteed. This mindset brings freedom because it removes the fear of loss and allows a person to embrace life with openness and ease. Practicing detachment requires self-awareness and discipline. It involves observing one's reactions, noticing when emotions are taking over, and consciously choosing to step back rather than get lost in the drama. It is a process of learning to pause before responding, of recognizing when something is not worth the energy, and of understanding that external chaos does not have to disrupt internal peace. Meditation, mindfulness, and breathing techniques are powerful tools for developing this awareness. By training the mind to remain present and centered, it becomes easier to navigate life without being pulled in every direction by external events. The ultimate goal of detachment is not to escape from life but to experience it more fully. When a person is detached from external drama, they are able to see situations with greater clarity, make better decisions, and cultivate deeper relationships. They do not waste energy on unnecessary conflicts or distractions, and they do not allow the emotions of others to dictate their state of mind. Instead, they move through life with a sense of stability, responding with wisdom rather than reacting out of impulse. This creates a life of greater peace, joy, and fulfillment. Detachment does not happen overnight, nor is it about perfection. There will still be moments of emotional reaction, moments of frustration, and moments of entanglement. However, with practice, these moments become fewer and less intense. The ability to step back and regain balance becomes easier. Over time, detachment transforms the way life is experienced. The world may remain chaotic, opinions may continue to clash, and challenges may arise, but a person who has cultivated detachment moves through it all with a sense of inner freedom. They remain engaged in life without being controlled by it, finding stillness in the midst of motion and clarity in the face of confusion. This is the true power of detachment from external drama, living fully yet untouched by the unnecessary weight of the world. Inner engineering is the process of transforming oneself from within, creating a foundation of inner stability, clarity, and well-being regardless of external circumstances. Most people live their lives focusing on external achievements, believing that success, relationships, or material comforts will bring them lasting happiness. However, true fulfillment does not come from the outside, it is cultivated within. Just as the external world requires engineering to build strong structures, the inner world also requires conscious effort and attention to build a balanced and peaceful life. Inner engineering is about taking charge of one's body, mind, emotions, and energy, aligning them in such a way that life flows effortlessly and joyfully. The mind is one of the most powerful tools in shaping a person's experience of life. When it is in a state of chaos, even the most beautiful situations can feel stressful. When it is balanced, even difficult situations can be handled with ease. Most people allow their minds to function without awareness, reacting to situations rather than consciously responding. They are caught in repetitive patterns of thought, emotions, and behavior that create suffering. Inner engineering is about developing mastery over the mind, bringing awareness to these patterns, and making conscious choices rather than being driven by unconscious tendencies. One of the essential aspects of inner engineering is self-awareness. Most people know the world around them in great detail, understand technology, science, business, or social structures, but they do not know themselves. They do not pay attention to how their thoughts arise, how emotions fluctuate, or how their reactions shape their experiences. Without this self-awareness, they live in cycles of stress, anxiety, or dissatisfaction without knowing why. Through inner engineering, a person begins to observe themselves with clarity, recognizing the connection between thoughts, emotions, and actions. This awareness creates the possibility of transformation, where unconscious reactions are replaced with conscious responses. Breath plays a significant role in inner engineering. The way a person breathes is directly connected to their mental and emotional state. When one is stressed or anxious, the breath becomes shallow and rapid. When one is calm, the breath is deep and steady. By learning to regulate the breath, a person gains control over their inner state. Certain breathing techniques, practiced in various traditions, help bring balance to the body and mind. These techniques influence the nervous system, helping to reduce stress and create mental clarity. By consciously engaging with the breath, one can shift from a reactive state to a responsive state, from chaos to stillness. Energy is another crucial aspect of inner engineering. Every human being functions based on a certain level of energy, and this energy determines how they experience life. When energy levels are low or imbalanced, life feels like a struggle. Small challenges feel overwhelming and happiness seems elusive. But when energy is vibrant and balanced, life flows smoothly, and even difficult situations can be handled with grace. Many ancient practices focus on aligning one's energy to ensure well-being. This can be achieved through physical movement, breathwork meditation, or certain lifestyle choices that enhance vitality. When energy is consciously managed, a person experiences a deeper sense of joy and clarity, independent of external situations. Emotional balance is another key component of inner engineering. People often believe their emotions are shaped by external events, but in reality, emotions arise from within. When one lacks inner stability, they are easily affected by circumstances, experiencing constant ups and downs. However, by understanding the nature of emotions and observing them without becoming entangled, a person gains control over their inner world. This does not mean suppressing emotions, but rather cultivating a space where emotions can arise and pass without overwhelming the mind. With practice, a person becomes less reactive and more centered, able to engage with life from a place of stability rather than turbulence. A fundamental shift that happens through inner engineering is the realization that happiness is not something to be pursued, but something to be cultivated from within. Most people believe happiness is a result of achievements, relationships, or possessions. However, these external factors are constantly changing, and depending on them for happiness creates an unstable life. Inner engineering helps a person recognize that joy is a natural state when the mind, body, and energy are aligned. Instead of seeking happiness in the future, a person learns to experience it in the present moment, making joy a constant companion rather than an occasional visitor. Another significant transformation that occurs through inner engineering is the ability to handle life's challenges with a sense of equanimity. Life is unpredictable, filled with moments of success and failure, gain and loss, pleasure and pain. Without inner stability, people are constantly thrown into emotional extremes, feeling elated when things go well and devastated when they don't. However, when inner engineering is applied, there is a deep sense of balance, where external situations do not dictate inner well-being. This does not mean one becomes indifferent to life, but rather that they develop the strength to navigate all situations with grace. The practice of inner engineering also leads to greater clarity and focus. When the mind is cluttered with unnecessary thoughts and distractions, decision-making becomes difficult and productivity decreases. But when one cultivates inner stillness, the mind becomes sharp and clear. This clarity enhances every aspect of life: relationships, work, creativity, and personal growth. With a focused mind, one can direct energy toward meaningful pursuits rather than being lost in distractions. Ultimately, inner engineering is about taking responsibility for one's inner world. Instead of waiting for external conditions to bring happiness or fulfillment, a person learns to create it from within. They become the master of their own experience rather than being at the mercy of circumstances. This inner transformation does not happen overnight, but with consistent practice, it becomes a natural way of living. Life is no longer seen as a struggle, but as a joyful process of growth and exploration. The true power of inner engineering is that it is universally applicable. It does not depend on beliefs, culture, or background. Every human being has the ability to transform their inner world, and when they do, their experience of life changes entirely. The external world may remain unpredictable, but within there is a steady foundation of peace and clarity. From this space, a person moves through life with confidence, resilience, and an unshakable sense of well-being. Living with presence is the key to experiencing life fully, yet it is something most people struggle with. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are everywhere: constant notifications, endless to-do lists, and the pressure to always be thinking ahead. People spend much of their time caught in the past, replaying old memories, regrets, or moments of nostalgia, or they are lost in the future, worrying about what might happen, or chasing a sense of fulfillment that always seems just out of reach. Rarely do they fully immerse themselves in the present moment, which is the only place where life truly happens. Living with presence means shifting awareness from a mind that is scattered and restless to a state of deep engagement with the now. It is about experiencing life directly rather than through the filters of thoughts, expectations, or worries. One of the reasons people struggle to be present is the conditioning of the mind. From an early age, society teaches that success and happiness lie somewhere in the future. Children are told to work hard so they can have a good job later. Adults are constantly planning for what comes next, believing that once they achieve a certain goal, financial stability, a relationship, a promotion, then they will finally be happy. However, this way of thinking creates a perpetual cycle of postponement, where contentment is always delayed. By the time one milestone is reached, the mind has already moved on to the next thing. True fulfillment remains elusive because it is always attached to an idea of the future rather than being rooted in the present. Living with presence does not mean abandoning goals or responsibilities. It means engaging fully in whatever is happening right now. Whether working, eating, walking, or having a conversation, being present means giving complete attention to the experience without being distracted by thoughts about something else. This shift in awareness brings a sense of depth and richness to life. A simple activity like drinking a cup of tea can become a moment of peace and clarity if approached with full attention. On the other hand, even the most exciting experiences can feel empty if the mind is elsewhere, constantly chasing the next thing. One of the most effective ways to cultivate presence is through the breath. The breath is always happening in the present moment. It cannot exist in the past or the future. Bringing awareness to the breath instantly grounds the mind, bringing it back from wandering thoughts into the now. This is why many meditation practices emphasize breath awareness. The simple act of observing the inhale and exhale creates a gap between thoughts, allowing a sense of stillness to emerge. When practiced regularly, this awareness extends beyond meditation and into daily life, making it easier to remain present in all activities. The body is another anchor for presence. The mind may wander into different times and places, but the body is always here. By tuning into bodily sensations, feeling the warmth of the sun, the weight of the feet on the ground, the rhythm of the heartbeat, one connects deeply with the present. Many people live disconnected from their bodies, trapped in a mental world of worries and distractions. Reconnecting with physical sensations is a simple yet powerful way to return to the now. Presence also transforms relationships. Many conversations happen with only partial attention. People are often thinking about what they will say next, checking their phones, or mentally drifting elsewhere while someone is speaking. This lack of presence creates a sense of disconnection where interactions become shallow and unfulfilling. But when presence is cultivated, listening becomes deeper. Instead of waiting for a turn to speak, one truly hears the other person, picking up on subtle emotions and understanding more fully. This presence creates stronger, more meaningful relationships because people feel truly seen and valued. Another aspect of presence is accepting things as they are. The mind often resists the present moment, wishing things were different. It clings to past regrets or anxiously tries to control the future. But reality unfolds as it does, regardless of mental resistance. Living with presence means fully embracing each moment, whether it is pleasant, uncomfortable, or ordinary. It means understanding that life is not something to be controlled or chased, but something to be experienced as it is. This shift in perception brings a sense of ease, because there is no longer a struggle against what is happening. Practicing presence also brings clarity. When the mind is scattered, decision-making becomes difficult and stress increases. But when fully present, awareness sharpens. Instead of being lost in distractions or overthinking, one sees situations with greater clarity and responds with wisdom rather than reacting out of habit. This is especially valuable in difficult situations where staying present allows for calmness and insight rather than panic and impulsive decisions. Living with presence does not mean eliminating thoughts or emotions. The mind will still generate ideas, memories, and future plans. However, the difference is that these thoughts no longer dominate awareness. Instead of being completely absorbed in mental activity, one observes thoughts as they come and go, choosing to focus on what is happening now rather than being lost in an internal narrative. The greatest joy of presence is that it transforms even ordinary moments into something meaningful. A walk in the park, feeling the wind on the skin, sharing a quiet moment with a loved one. These simple experiences become profound when lived fully. Life is not made up of a few big moments but of countless small ones. If presence is absent, these moments pass unnoticed. But when one learns to live with full awareness, life becomes vibrant, fulfilling, and deeply connected. Ultimately, presence is a practice, not a destination. There will be moments of distraction, times when the mind pulls away into worries or daydreams. But each time awareness returns to the now, presence is strengthened. Over time, living fully in each moment becomes natural, no longer something that needs effort, but something that simply is. In this state, life is not a race towards something better. It is already whole, already enough, already rich with meaning. Presence is not about changing life. It is about fully experiencing it exactly as it is. Silence is often overlooked in a world that thrives on noise, movement, and constant stimulation. People fill their days with conversations, music, television, social media, and endless streams of information, rarely allowing themselves a moment of true quiet. Even when external noise subsides, the mind remains restless, filled with thoughts, worries, and endless mental chatter. However, embracing silence is one of the most profound ways to experience inner peace, clarity, and a deeper connection to life. It is not just about the absence of sound, it is about creating a space where one can truly listen to oneself, to the world, and to the deeper aspects of existence that often go unnoticed. In modern society, silence is often seen as something uncomfortable, even awkward. People feel the need to fill conversations with words, as if silence between two individuals signifies disconnection or unease. Many avoid being alone with their thoughts, fearing what they might discover in the quiet. This discomfort with silence comes from a deep-seated habit of seeking distractions. When external noise is present, it drowns out the inner dialogue, giving a temporary escape from unresolved emotions or deeper questions about life. But when silence is embraced, it creates an opportunity for true self-reflection. It allows space to process emotions, understand one's thoughts, and connect with an inner stillness that is often buried beneath daily distractions. Silence has the power to calm the mind. The human mind is like a river. When disturbed, it becomes murky, making it difficult to see clearly. But when left undisturbed, it settles, allowing clarity to emerge. In silence, the mind gradually slows down. Thoughts become more focused and awareness deepens. This is why practices like meditation emphasize silence, not just external silence, but inner silence where even the mind becomes still. When this happens, one experiences a profound sense of peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. It is a state of being where worries, anxieties, and restlessness fade away, leaving behind a deep and natural contentment. Silence also enhances one's ability to listen. In a world where people are eager to speak, to express, and to be heard, true listening has become rare. But real understanding comes from deep listening, not just to others, but to oneself. When silence is cultivated, one becomes more attuned to subtle details, the emotions behind words, the unsaid feelings in a conversation, and even the whispers of intuition that often get lost in the noise of daily life. This deep listening strengthens relationships, improves communication, and fosters a greater sense of empathy. When a person listens in silence, without mentally preparing a response or reacting impulsively, they truly connect with others at a profound level. Nature itself teaches the value of silence. The most profound experiences often happen in stillness, the quiet of a forest, the calm of a mountain peak, the vast silence of the ocean. In these moments, one feels a deep connection to existence, a sense of being part of something greater. This is why people often seek solitude in nature when they need clarity, healing, or inspiration. The silence of nature is not empty, it is full of life, presence, and wisdom. By embracing silence, one aligns with this natural rhythm, finding a sense of harmony within. Silence also brings clarity in decision-making. When the mind is constantly bombarded with information, choices become clouded by external influences, fears, and conflicting desires. But in silence, the noise fades away, leaving room for true intuition and inner wisdom to emerge. Many of the greatest insights and creative ideas arise in moments of stillness. This is why writers, artists, and thinkers often retreat into solitude when they need inspiration. When the mind is quiet, creativity flows effortlessly, and solutions to complex problems become clear. Another profound effect of silence is its ability to heal. Stress, anxiety, and emotional turmoil are often intensified by external noise and mental chatter. When silence is embraced, the nervous system relaxes, the breath deepens, and the body enters a state of restoration. This is why silent retreats, where people spend days or weeks in complete quiet, have such a transformative effect. In silence, one comes face to face with unresolved emotions, suppressed thoughts, and aspects of oneself that were previously ignored. While this process can be uncomfortable at first, it ultimately leads to greater self-awareness, acceptance, and inner peace. For those new to embracing silence, it may feel unnatural or even challenging. The mind accustomed to constant engagement will resist, filling the space with thoughts, memories, and distractions. But with time and practice, silence becomes a welcome refuge, a place of strength rather than discomfort. Small steps, such as setting aside a few minutes each day to sit in quiet reflection, walking in nature without distractions, or simply observing the breath in stillness, can help cultivate this practice. Over time, silence shifts from being an unfamiliar experience to a deeply nourishing state of being. In relationships, silence can also be a source of deeper connection. Not all communication requires words. In moments of deep understanding, two people can sit together in silence, feeling connected without the need for conversation. This silent presence is often more meaningful than words. It conveys understanding, love, and respect in a way that speech sometimes cannot. Learning to be comfortable in silence with others strengthens bonds and creates a space for genuine connection. Ultimately, silence is not about withdrawing from the world or avoiding interaction. It is about creating balance, knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to engage and when to retreat into stillness. It is about cultivating a state of being where one is not controlled by noise, distractions, or mental restlessness, but instead finds peace in the simplicity of the present moment. When silence is embraced, life is experienced with greater depth, clarity, and joy. The mind becomes clearer, relationships become more meaningful, and a profound sense of inner freedom emerges. Silence is not empty, it is full of wisdom, presence, and the potential for true transformation.